proposal for lasting peace and prosperity. Message prepared by Getu Berhanu. February 1st, 2021. I hope the year 2021 to be the time the world community able to identify the one true God, the creator of the universe, to be free from confused knowledge in order to achieve the long-lasting peace and prosperity throughout the world. Thus, I want to share with you about the true God, the creator of the universe, that I know based on his revelation to me as his elected servant to serve him as a sign of his existence, to declare his doings. Yet I know all of us claim to know God, Jesus, Muhammad, and others based on the capacity of our knowledge, understanding, or imagination we acquire. Therefore, the God or any other heavenly beings I know through the revelation of God shouldn't be necessarily the same God and Jesus you used to know based on your knowledge or imagination. In the same way, even though we read the same Bible, the interpretation of Bible according to your understanding should not be the same as I interpret or understand it. But one fact remains to be true, that there is one God who created the universe by the wisdom which is beyond our imagination and knowledge to discern how he created it. And that true God could be known only through his revelation to each of us, rather our imagination about him, as many of us try to know him, understand. Thus the true knowledge we have about God depends on his revelation toward us than our imagination, knowledge, assumption, and explanation we have about him. Customarily, most believers think we all know one God as our creator, while it is true that there is only one creator, God, but the God we individually imagine maybe is the same or not. For that matter, I would like to introduce you which God I am talking about. My God is the one who has the book known as generally as Torah, Bible, መጽሐፍ ቅዱስ, etc. to explain himself for the whole world community. His book is available, reaching every corner of the earth. If anyone wants to know about him, everyone can access it and able to read. Therefore, what I am introducing you is not the strange God you never heard about, rather the living God, the whole world community able to read and know about him through his book. But maybe my claim to be his special servant would be strange for you. So let me introduce about myself, as I am the one whose identity was mentioned even before 3,000 years ago. The following is my history as mentioned earlier in the time of Moses. During the revelation of God on Mount Sinai, the God of Israel, through his prophet Moses, promised to the children of Israel to raise a prophet like him at latter days. The reason why he said that became clear now, knowing that it was his future plan, the angel of the Lord, to appear to that same servant the same way as he did in the time of Moses. We read in the book on Exodus chapter 3, number 2, that God appeared first to Moses through his angel as a flame of fire. And the same way he appeared to me alone in my room on February 1st, 2002 in Washington, D.C. as a flame of fire. For this similar revelation, I understand that this living angel of the Lord appeared to me is the same angel who was sent by God 3,500 years ago to bring the children of Israel out of Egypt's slavery. I am confident that no one saw this angel in this generation in the same way as I did, because he appeared to me purposely to isolate my identity from other impostors, to make me his single sign so that I can introduce you about the true God and his angel. To confirm, the angel of the Lord I saw today is the same Lord that existed before 3,500 years ago. We are able to witness today to see many huge rivers are turned to blood throughout the world, are similar with the river of Egypt that turned to blood before 3,500 years ago. And about that happening of the current turning of rivers to blood, it is already recorded in the book of the prophet Micah on chapter 7 from number 15 to 17. It says, residents look out. Residents look out at a river that turned red overnight in Kangnan County in East China's Zhejiang province on July 24 in 2018 or 19. Local in the Chinese city of Wenzhou woke up Thursday puzzled to find that the river was blood red. No one told NBC. Yet we know that many people may claim today hearing the voice of the Lord or claim to see many miracles, but encountering with the Lord in such unique ways help us to remind about the time of the prophet Moses. From this and other multiple evidences I provided based on his revelation, which is ignored until now, the proof you need to identify the servant who is mentioned on the book to serve the Lord is I. Thus I ask the government of Israel and others to ratify my authority and my rights given by the Lord so that I can prepare myself to serve him based on the commandment which is depicted on Ezekiel 45, number 17. If you still doubt about my evidences, I suggest you to examine my claim. Yet, if you still refuse to do that, in contempt, this may be the last chance the world community to have mercy before the God of Israel shows his mighty arm against his descendants throughout the world, unlike any other time, severe than the time of ancient Egypt. You have to know that downplaying or ignoring my message in reality doesn't mean that God, the angel of the Lord, or I am not existed. So if I exist, and if I witnessed that I saw the angel of the Lord on my own eyes, that means the prophetical commandments that's written on Ezekiel 45, number 17, and other related commandments should be implemented, because I am one of the responsible person to help fulfill the commandments mentioned in the book. The world community enabled to reconcile with the Lord to have his mercy. Other than this way, there could be no real remedy anymore for the world community to survive from the coming danger this way or the other. Do not think this time is the same as you used to know it. You have to consider that I am not claiming to have this right of mine because I am so simply obsessed or being eager because I have the feeling of deserving to administer the place that never been in my mind even before 3 or 4 years ago, till he revealed it to me recently. I am still claiming having this right and authority because I fear the world community would be more in danger if I keep silent. And it is because I know no one will lose, and if I am accepted to have my given right to serve the Lord according to his plan, the plan which is obvious and clear for anyone to read in the book, for my claim is genuine. We, the people entitled to serve the Lord, are not enforcing anyone to worship our God without their will and interest. But as well, we are not able to worship other gods after his revelation to us. We are not even to do any other works except serving him. Personally, I can't do any other work, and I alone ask my liberty to serve him. Even millions refuse to do that because I and my family are suffering every day for not serving him. So I need to serve him based on the guidance of the book, on the right place at the right time. And if I serve him, you lose nothing. Rather, you will be free from suffering and pain now and in the future. On the other hand, if I keep silence and reluctant to serve him, I fear the anger of the Lord would soar to destroy this world relentlessly, like Sodom and Gomorrah, or like the time of Noah. Yet, if the world refused to listen to obey my advice, had it faces harsher punishment by the Lord, it wouldn't be my responsibility because I inform you the real intention of the Lord. Indeed, those who are in power and rich, who are making democracy and communism their camouflage today, never think they are going to live better life than they are living now, because they are deceived by Satan, think it never exists. So I pass my message rather to you, ordinary, rich, and powerful people who sincerely believes in God. Let your Creator govern you so that you don't lose everything now and forever. Of course, many may not accept this proposal because, as you know, right now we have in the world millions of preachers of different ideals, religion, philosophy, and doctrines, etc., to shape up the mind of people to utilize their pragmatic actions into their intended missions. Among them, Judeo-Christian preachers are the main driving forces because they are using the most vital book, such as Torah and Bible, that can be useful for the survival of human beings, or if used it by interpreting wrongly to satisfy their own only personal wish, they can be the cause to demise the world community. We can't be ignorant also about the existence of other books and texts that exist throughout the world to teach different religion and philosophy. But we are concerning more about the book which is recorded the true history, advice, guidance, laws and commandments, and so on, based on the reality using the name of the Creator God, than merely simple wishes and false hopes. We know that about the illusion of communism based on Marxist philosophy that promised theoretically to feed its members abundant of food without acknowledging the God who is the source of wheat and corn. As we know, simply it is hard to have bread without harvesting, harvesting without rain, and rain without its giver. The same would serve for other mind-altering psychological books. Those are written in the name of religion and ideology, their ethical teaching never to benefit us without first having food on the table. Communism believes in hard workers to acquire the abundance of material to satisfy its members' need. But when bad weather destroyed its crops, which they still adapted to call it the climate change syndrome, but that we know it was the wrath of God, we witnessed to see sudden famine to destroy millions of people in communist Soviets, China, Ethiopia, North Korea, and so on. And now it transferred to the Western nations because of the same denial of God's existence, etc. Therefore, we have to know that it is not because we worked hard we harvest. It's not because we made effort we succeed. Rather, we succeed only because of His will. The communists, in theory, who sympathize the poor and the working class, ignored the necessity of God's will and guidance to depend on them, failed, and will fail forever. Fundamentally, there should be one teacher to save the human beings from the danger it is in, and that teacher should be the one who deserves having the right to guide us into the right destiny than otherwise. If there is one power to guide us, it should be only our Creator and the Creator of the universe. Therefore, it is time now for the world community as a whole need to decide uniformly to acknowledge about the existence of God or not. If we find out that He exists, we need to determine which God to be the Creator. How do we listen to His voice? Through which way, where, when, and so on. While this proposal is the most sane to satisfy all of us, yet if you reject it, the diffusion of evil spirits, venomous and deceptive theory through millions of self-appointed preachers, contrary to the guidance of the Creator through the right medium, His elect, may soon destroy the world community. So now, it is the responsibility of the world community to contemplate this advice in order to save the world from the current Babylonia confused states. You have to know that there is no preacher, teacher, or philosopher knowing the Creator more than anyone else unless the Creator revealed Himself to that particular man. We are like this. The Creator, to deter such confusion, always chooses single prophets or kings as His agents. He chooses His own agents rather than those who claim to be His agents. For example, the prophet Moses became His elect because the Creator Lord communicated with him through His angel as fire at the bush. Thus, that was not the wish, the ability, and the wisdom of Moses to know the Creator, rather the Creator Himself revealed to him. The people of Israel identified the prophet Moses to be the elect of the Lord, first because he showed them unique miracles than other Israelis and Egyptians were able to perform it. According to the gospel theory, Jesus worked many miracles supported by the angels to introduce Him to be the Son of God that were not performed by other Israelis on His time. The Creator, the God of Israel, prepared His ways of revelation through specific ways. Unlike any other gods, He recorded the ways of revelation and His future plan in His books before 4,000, 3,000, and 2,000 years ago. His performance is not like other gods. There is no other power as the God of Israel that chooses His own people, the one able to scatter His people throughout the world, the one who is able to gather His people from all over the world, the one who chooses His own servants, the one who crushes His enemies, the one who has His eternal book able to record the place of His house in detail and the kind of His houses, and so on. He is also the creator and the lord of other kings. He was the one to raise Egyptian Pharaoh to power, to slave the Israelis, later to show his power in order to free Israelis from Egypt. He was the one who raised Nebuchadnezzar II to power and moved him to destroy the Temple of Jerusalem, and later, when he boasted, made him like an animal to eat grass for 7 years. He was the one who brought the Assyrians to evict the Israelis from their land to captivity beyond the two rivers. In general, he is the maker of history. He is the creator of heaven, the earth, the water, and everything in it, as well even to be the source of the creator of the new technology, a smartphone. We use it to communicate in minutes throughout the world today. Above all, today he is the creator of me, a human being, as a sign, as his witness and servant. You can only identify his servants by the unique gift they got from God. The prophet Moses was known by showing miracles to Israelis as well as to Egyptians. The prophet David was known by his power and by having the spirit of speaking prophecy. And now, in this generation, I claim to be the man who is recorded his history in the book of the Lord to help the world community to identify which God we should listen to save the world community from the coming calamity. I am not created or given the power to show miracle signs like Moses. I am not created like David to kill the enemies by swords. I am not like Jesus or Elijah to heal people. I am not required to do that. Rather, I am the witness of the Creator to provide evidences about the one who created me is exists today doing many works. I suggest thus the leaders of the world community to consider my advice highly than other preachers and Israelis, because no one has as clear evidence as I have to claim what to do to fulfill the will of the Creator in this generation. If there are such individuals to speak about his message, I think it should be based on the guidance of the book, and their own history should be mentioned in the book. I wish if exist, this kind of individuals need to come forward to help us reconcile with our Creator. But I am assuring you, there would be no one except me elected to speak about his will. Therefore, based on the evidences he revealed to me, I am asking the world community to consider my message and to give the land of God under the administration of the designated people, group, and individuals like me, as mentioned on Ezekiel chapter 45:7, to serve him as he commanded us in his book. To materialize the mentioned undertaking, we need first to establish an independent organization or office to conduct logical and realistic research and examination of about the existence of God based on evidences. Then we welcome anyone who thinks to have evidences to serve the Lord. Through that process, personally as his witness and servant, I propose others to come challenging my evidences. After that, the end result of this realistic examination would help us to reach into two vital resolutions. First, if we confirm about the existence of God, it helps us to follow his guidance in order to implement his prophetical plan to end the misery of human race altogether, enabled to live in happiness as promised by the Lord. Second, if we confirm through our research and examinations about the non-existence of God, I repeat, the non-existence of God, unlike the Torah, Bible, and Quran, depicts, we don't need to use the name of the non-existence of God to exploit innocent people around the world by inducting into their brain false hopes and illusions for the sake of their own advantage. If we don't want to take any of the above steps by refuse to confirm about the reality of the existence of God or not, those who believe about the existence of God should be compelled to subdue the non-believers, governments, and those who refuse to recognize and worship the Creator based on the book guidance that creates everything as recorded on Genesis chapter 1, number 1. If the powerful Judeo-Christian nations are also reluctant to subdue others, they themselves would be attacked by their own internal and outside enemies, as well as by the wrath of God, namely by natural disasters. God forbid. To avoid that, as mentioned above, I propose immediately to help us establish an examining and research office to decide about the existence of God or not. If it exists, we need to identify which God deserves to be worshipped, to identify which books are authentic, which place to be the right one to worship. In general, we need to be clear of confusion in order to have clean understanding about what we should believe or not. Yet if you say, we know God exists, but we don't need Him, then God also doesn't need you, and we see the results sooner than later. If the communists continue to deny about the existence of God, this time, it's not a proper time living in the same condition as before. If Democrats continue using democracy to deceive their peoples when God shortened the source of their bread and food, the voters who put you in the office will throw you out. If the Christian pastor continues to believe and teach as he is the temple of God, since there are millions of individuals like him, we who seek the forgiveness and mercy of the Creator, to which individual pastor as a temple, we need to go and ask his forgiveness and mercy. Since we have millions of churches around the world, which church we should go to worship our Creator? And to which mosque? And to which synagogue? And which shrine we need to go asking the mercy of God? But we who believe in the true God has written in the book where we need Him to pray and to ask His mercy. It is the right of our natural liberty to depend on the guidance of His book. The prophet Isaiah and Ezekiel on chapter 45 tells us where we should worship our Creator, how, when, and so on. If the prophet Ezekiel and Isaiah, who I never knew even about their name before 20 years ago, wrote about me before 2,500 years ago, why do you need to blame for my claim to have my right to serve the Lord? Since this plan is not any of the prophets that lived before 2,000 years ago, and since it was not my plan before 5 years ago, why you are struggling against the plan of the invincible God? Please, don't even think you know what's written in the Bible, because it is hard to understand what it says unless He only revealed it to you, which the phrases even altered through the years by different publishers intentionally have meanings and purpose to support my claim. So I hope you understand what I am trying to say, to consider about my proposal before it is too late, to reverse the danger the world community may face harsher than it is now. If you try to challenge through dissent discussion, you're welcome. But we know now there is one true God that we need to listen and worship. The rest is the creation of falsehood and imagination. Thus, please leave us alone to serve our Lord and our God based on the guidance of the book, so that we have a peaceful and prosperous world to live in it. Thank you. Have a good day.